Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Well, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, November 20th. It is 11 a.m. here in beautiful Portland, Oregon. And I am your host. Who am I, you may ask? Well, that's for you to decide. I am the Oracle of Whimsy. Yes, I am the official Oracle of Whimsy, not to be mistaken with any imitations. I am the alter ego of Dr. Whimsy, and I get together with you on Sunday and I act very, very silly. I am a reluctant oracle. Thank you very much. The story goes that I was first conceived in an ancient riverbed in a land so far away from here, eons and eons and eons ago, and my purpose in life is to be silly and to have fun and to be whimsical. Now you may ask, when did I become whimsy? Well, depends on who you ask. It is on my birth certificate, so I can't escape it. That is my name, born, bred, and bat mitzvahed. Well, how is everyone today? This is our Sunday get-together, and we act very, very silly, and we do silly, silly things, and we raise money for charity, and we have a great time. And I must say, I've been doing this show for about 4 years. We're going into our 4th year. Yes, my fellow sensitive people, 4 years of Sunday brunches. You just can't get rid of me. Today, we are raising funds for Feeding America together. It is right before the holidays. We have people that need to buy groceries and they're struggling, so that is going to be our charity. We have only one rule here when we get together, and that is that we are all kind, or we do our best to be kind to one another, even people that you don't agree with politically. So please, no insults, no calling people repubs or libtards, or we don't do that. We are adults, and we treat you like an adult, and we expect you to treat others like we're not going to go into that. So be nice to everybody. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you is our only request. And we extend our brunch table to you. We invite you regardless of your religion, race, creed, gender. We accept all as long as we are all kind to one another. And maybe we can, who knows, inspire the world to open its tables in the traditional Bedouin way, right? We've been studying the ancient Bedouins here a little bit, right? About how they had four entrances to the oasis, and everybody could come and drink the water so long as they were kind to all, right? So we want to continue that tradition here with the Oracle of Whimsy on Sundays. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Tell me who you are, where you're coming from, what you eating, and how are you feeling on this beautiful November crisp morning. I know some of you are getting some crazy weather over on the East Coast. We have a lot to talk about. I did an extended remote view. It started last night, and then I did it again today. And it's on one topic, and the topic we're going to be talking about is who is Jack Smith. We did a remote view on Jack Smith. I'm sorry if you're having trouble seeing my board. Let me go ahead and make it better for you all. I had the most mystical experience, by the way. Would you like to hear a mystical? Would you all like to hear a mystical experience I had? So I signed up to take a Vipassana retreat. That is a 10-day silent meditation retreat at the Northwest Vipassana Center. And that's a 10-day silent retreat. I didn't spell that right. Vipassana. I believe that's how you spell it. And, I've been doing a lot of, shadow work, trying to be my best self, etc. So I put a announcement in the community newspaper for our building and said, "I need someone to watch my cat, because I'll be away for Thanksgiving and I'll be in Japan, etc., etc." So I get a response from a nice gentleman, and he says, "I'll watch your cat." So he came down and had tea with me yesterday, and we got to talking. And he said, "Yes, well, this is the time I'm free, and this is the time I can't be here because I'm going on a retreat." I said, "Really? What kind of retreat?" He said, "Vipassana. I'm training in Vipassana. This will be my like fourth or fifth retreat." And I thought, "Oh my gosh!" So he is going to be at the Vipassana retreat the week before I go because I guess he's getting teaching training, and then he comes back, and then I go on the retreat, and he watches me. Like, how is that for mystical? Is that not incredible? How the universe and I've been asking the universe, I just wanna meet compassionate, good people so I can be on a good road. So I have Vipassana, a guy who's learning Vipassana, empathy galore Mila is getting well taken. Is that not the greatest thing in the world? Can you believe that? How is that for karmic? Anyway, so I just thought you guys would get a kick out of that. Let's see where y'all coming from. Hi, Wendy. Wendy's, I think it's her grandmother is Miss Mabel. Bizarre. That's really cool. Hi, Tammy Osborne. Sari Ashweller, hello. Debbie K is in the house. Great to see you again, Debbie. Hi, Chris Crowdis. Thank you so much for being a member and supporting the channel. Alexandra is here. Welcome. Oh, you're having a chai tea in Southeast Idaho, Chris. That sounds lovely. Hi, Pia Swan. Great to see you. And Dylan's in the house. You're in Boston and you're eating stew and drinking chamomile. Pia, that sounds wonderful. North Hampshire for Ann Dillon's in North Hampshire, excuse me. Hi, Miss Lady. Hi, Dee Dee Abdul. Great to see you. And the incredible Geocosmic Valentine. If you have not worked with her, she is an amazing astrologer. She's also a professional remote viewer. If you go to Geocosmic Valentine's YouTube channel, you can find information about having her remote view your astrological chart. She's quite good. Debbie Brady is amazing, both an empath psychic, but also she is here taking care of us. So I much appreciation. Hi, Kel Bell. Thank you for being a member. Namaste to you, Lynn Raymond in rainy Florida. Awesome possum. Mel Broussard, always great to see you here. So, let's see. Thank you, Sam Nomad, for the $20 donation to Feeding America. Yeah, what'd you think about that? Wasn't that crazy? Can you believe the mystical connection? Carlsbad, California. Oh, I'm so sorry. Marjorie has lost 2 friends. We're sorry to hear that. My sincere condolences. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and Mila was completely in love with him. Like, he just sat there drinking his tea and talking, and she was, like, rolling all over him, and he was just really kind. I thought, "This is so mystical." She's very wary of some guys, and this guy, she was just like, "Take me, I'm yours." So I thought that was a good sign. All right, so a lot of you have asked me, are we ready to do some remote viewing, or are there any public announcements that any of you need to make? Oh, Boston Tea in Cedar Rapids, Joyce Petrus. Great to see you here. Are we ready for the remote views? We've got 245 people here. I think we can get started. Okay, so last night I did a remote view on the hiring of Jack Smith, and this is the only remote view I have for you today. Yes, always blessed. Remind me when we blitz, blitz, blitz away. We're gonna blitz, blitz, blitz a little bit later. This is gonna get complicated quickly. Okay, so when I started this channel, I did a series of remote views, and I wanna go back to the remote views. And the remote views involve a lot of people. So when we go to Jack Smith, we work backwards as remote viewers. So let's start with Robert Mueller. So Jack Smith is continuing the work of Robert Mueller. You had part one, Robert Mueller, which collected a lot of data and then stored it along with some indictments, etc. So Robert Mueller, this is where I want you to go first. We're going to work backwards. This is how I work as a remote viewer. I find the energy stream and I pull it back to its original source. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Sooner or later you're gonna be mine. Tick, tock. Sooner or later you're gonna be fine. Tick, tock. Because Robert Mueller always gets his man sooner or later. So when we go into this individual, Jack Smith, and you follow the stream, it takes you back to Robert Mueller. So what is Robert Mueller doing? Let's go and look at the cast of characters. The first thing I did when I did a remote for you all, and I invite you to look at it if you haven't looked at it yet, was a remote I did on Vladimir Putin. And I sat in Putin's shoes 4 years ago, and I heard myself say what I want. What I want is I want the lights of Moscow to shine on the entire world. And Moscow will be the light on the shining hill, not DC. And the true church is the Russian Orthodox Church, and they will subdue the other churches, and they will declare the true world leader and head of the church, just like King Henry VIII was the head of his church. Putin will be the head of his church, and it will shine on the entire world. This is what the intention is of Vladimir Putin. So he uses money from criminal enterprises, and these criminals are giving money to the church. The criminals are donating money to the church from their spoils, from their selling of drugs, from their cryptocurrency trades, smuggling drugs, guns, theft, war. A portion goes to the church. So the Russian church is being propped up by the mob. And this takes us to international crimes, and you're going to be forgiven as long as you give a portion to the church. So you're propping up the church with black market goods, money, bribes in exchange for, you're going to be guaranteed a place in heaven. And so as I sit on the Atlantic seaboard as Robert Mueller and I look out at the ocean, I see mega yachts. I know this is happening on international waters. I know what they're doing. I'm also monitoring what looks like lights. They look like lights of energy going back and forth. And these lights of energy are money transfers, wire transfers, bank accounts, bribes, and then eventually offshore accounts, cryptocurrency, shell corporations. And as I followed that money as Robert Mueller, it took me to the steps of the United States Capitol. And I'm standing on the United States Capitol, and the money is getting shuffled into members of Congress, Senate, etc., the Supreme Court. I'm monitoring the dark money, and the dark money is coming from foreign governments. Dubai is heavily involved. Mega yachts are heavily involved. And I'm promising people in the remote that I'm going to get them someday. We know what they're doing. We know how these bribes work. We're going to shut down the cryptocurrency. We're going to take the mega yachts. We're going to scour every single computer. We're going to subpoena every witness. And we're going to get these people. The investigation also took me to the CIA, the FBI, the Pentagon, and people inside of our intelligence agencies that had allowed this to happen by either turning the other cheek or by being actively involved. For example, Michaela, don't eat that. She's been caught. You're caught. Do not eat the cactus. Do not eat that cactus. Wait until it grows fruit. Mila? Corruption in the house. Michaela, no more eating cactuses. Stop it. Sorry. I'm constantly having to do that. I apologize. You've been caught. All right, back to the story. So they have taken, since Robert Mueller left, and everybody who doesn't know what's going on, Robert Mueller didn't do anything, has not been watching the story the way that you and I have been watching the story. So everything that Mueller said the intelligence agencies were going to do has happened. They've begun subpoenaing people. They've taken the mega yachts. They've scoured them. They've started shutting down cryptocurrency, FTX. A cryptocurrency is now being linked to being propped up by foreign governments. So we saw the lights of Moscow shining on the entire world. We saw the shell corporations and international corruption. We also linked it back to Interpol. We found banking crimes with money from foreign governments, Russia, China, Dubai, etc., Saudi Arabia. Israel is actually a lot cleaner. Actually, Israel's one of the people who had a security breach because they were monitoring the nuclear development that was going on in Iran. And I think it was Jeffrey Sterling from the CIA who was actually caught and convicted by Jack Silver. Is that how you say it? Jack Smith, excuse me. Jeffrey Sterling was a CIA operative that was actually caught for giving away information about how Iran's nuclear program was being surveyed. And I think that went back to Israel. So that was kind of interesting. Basically, what I think is happening here, I'll just wrap it up, is that Smith has a past history of working with I'm sorry, she just can't let it go. I got to take another cactus. Michaela, stop. Stop eating the cactus. All right. I just got to roll. I got a cat, so we just got to roll with it. Okay. Now she's starting on the blinds. Mila, what do you want? Do you want to come be with us? Why don't you come here and hang with us, okay? Other people's children. You're my mother. Yes, I guess I am. All right. So what they're doing is that they appear to be prepping for trials in the international courts. Now, when you follow that energy of trials with the international courts, and when we look at what Russian leadership has already told us, what do you think the odds are that Russia is going to hand Putin over for eventual trials in The Hague? 0, right? So what it looks like is that we're looking at international trials, and that is what they're prepping for, and that's what they've been prepping for, and that is why this is becoming major trials that are going to be taking place in The Hague. So a lot of people are in trouble. It's not just members of Russia that are going to be internationally tried. Remember what we had talked about, that they put the security of Europe at risk? They put Europe at risk. They put America at risk, that there would be consequences when this whole thing went down for all of Europe. So that's what's happening. So they're going after the heads of these countries. That's basically what's going on. In terms of whether or not we're going to actually get Putin, probably not. But what they're saying in the remote is that they will still try him whether or not he's in The Hague or not. In plain words, they'll still find him guilty even if if they can't physically get their hands on him. Excuse me. Discuss the remote while I deal with my cat. Want to see it here? Look. Look. She outside. Say hi to everybody, Mila. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so hi, Mila. You're here. Look where you're going. So what they're saying here, what basically the intelligence agencies are saying here, is that it's bigger than the Supreme Court. It's bigger than Donald Trump. It's bigger than a few members of Congress being bribed. What we're entering into is war trials. Does everybody hear what I'm saying? So after World War II, we had the Nuremberg trials. And after Trump, we will have these international corruption trials, similar to what happened in Bosnia, So does this help you get a better perspective about why they brought in Jack Smith? Does it also help you bring together those of you who've been with me for 4 years? Does this help you understand the full circle? Let's talk about that. And again, I apologize, Mila's feeling a little neglected. What's going on? Yeah, you feeling a little neglected? Did you see your bird out there? There was a crow out there earlier, and there's a squirrel too. Did you see the squirrel outside that was in that tree? Yeah? Did you? What'd you think? Did you see it? Yeah, it could happen, huh? Yeah. So let me see what else. So full circle. This is my notes from last night. I let people see them. It's also recorded so that I can then destroy them. So what it said was that it took me back to the lights of Moscow. And from there, and how was Putin going to accomplish that? He went through shell corporations, international corruption, bribing officials, cryptocurrency. It was also linked back to banking crimes, which are there's still some more banking crimes that are and organized crime. The confiscation of mega yachts, international waters. So a lot of the stuff requires the international courts because it's outside the bounds of the United States, even though the United States was one of the victims, Deutsche Bank, and some of these people who are cooperating because the bigger picture is we're going into war crimes tribunals. We're going into people have been killed, you know, the Hague International Courts will be involved. It's a sensitive investigation that began as early as 2008. Jeffrey Sterling was part of that investigation. He was reviewing official bribes, election crimes, etc. It led to him convicting Jeffrey Sterling from the CIA. And so he was brought in because of his previous investigations into corruption, which fell into the hands of the international courts. It will probably result in convictions of several people, including Putin, but the remote ended with them basically saying it's unlikely that he will actually stand in the courts, even if he's convicted. So that is last night's remote. I can open the floor if people want to talk some more about it. It's certainly not what I expected. I mean, I was frustrated when another, what are we doing here? It's just going to go on and on and on and on. And then when I did the HCRV last night, I was like horrified. Because I was like, oh my God, we're right back to Britain getting involved and MI6 and cooperation in order to deal with this. So all of the offshore banking, the mega yachts being confiscated, the people desperately disappearing and hiding in the Seychelles, the fact that Russia was trying to build foreign, armies for hire, right, through Eric Prince, and just get to make money for Russia, and they could bypass the American army. They could go and just hire soldiers of fortune. All of that falls under international crimes, and so for that reason, it's not just it's not. We can try them for what they did in the United States, but if you're talking about crimes that are of an international nature, this is an international investigation. And so the main investigation, it's exactly what Mueller said. It's moving into the Hague. It's moving into the international areas. And it also goes back to the fact that we were heavily assisted by Great Britain. Did you see? Is anybody surprised that Mueller would see? We keep thinking, when you're going to get Trump, when you're going to get Trump. And what the intelligence agencies are saying to us is, oh, this is much bigger than getting Trump. This is a investigation that has been going on since 2008 regarding massive corruption and war, cyber attacks, and those people are going to be prosecuted. I don't know if I would say Mueller was so much stopped as much as that he sent everything off and buried it in FBI investigations, etc., and that the bigger picture was always that we're at war, basically, that this is another type of war. The war is coming to an end, and now the investigation is also coming to an end, and it does not bode well for the people that have been in the middle of it. A lot of people have not been able to put the pieces together. Well, why did that guy's compound get blown up before the MI6 went in? Why is that mega yacht getting taken off? And what happened to Mueller? He didn't do anything. This last remote helps us see the bigger picture of what's going on and where we're headed. It is kind of interesting that they never get Putin, in the sense that I don't think the Russians will ever hand Putin over to, they're not going to hand him over to the Hague. Anybody surprised? Or are people just like, well, I had a pretty good idea that was happening? Is anybody here not surprised? She just wanted attention. Did you see it? All right. So yeah, the cryptocurrency is, which is why I said cryptocurrency is probably not a stable investment, because the feds are all over it. The Seychelles Islands, the mega yachts, the confiscate. It blows my mind, because over 3 years ago, Robert Mueller said, "I'm going to get on those yachts. I'm going. We're getting there, and we're going to get this info." And I was like, people thought we were crazy, and then it all happened. It happened exactly like he said it was going to happen. It's like, oh my God, this stuff is real. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, in the end, what I said when I gave you the remotes a couple years ago, the Mueller report isn't even important, right? Remember when I said don't get attached to the Mueller report because it does? Why are you guys focusing on? I was focused on the international investigation. I'm like, what are you guys worrying about the Mueller report? Look over here. They've got MI6 meeting privately with CIA, and there's a leak, and then there's this happening, and then there's the thing with Iran, and we're talking about an international crime ring here, and people are like, what about the Mueller report? Like, Mueller report? Who cares about the Mueller report? Yeah, so it went on for years. 2008, they began investigating corruption inside the CIA. It goes back to also the fact that it would take years for them to go public with, a lot of what they had found out and a lot of what happened. So yes, the Melissa, thank you for pointing that out. Sisman channel, if you want to see them dragging off all of Putin and Dubai, so all of their mega yachts with all of that beautiful electronic information, along with their cryptocurrency accounts. I know it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt, because that's all evidence to try you in an international court. It's still espionage. Even if you don't do it on U.S. waters, we'll just bring in Interpol. So are you feeling better? I thought you would like that remote. And it goes back to, did Robert Mueller lie? No. He told us exactly how it was going to go down, exactly who was involved. It's just so awesome. All right. Well, if you folks have nothing else to ask regarding what was going on. I think that we all have gone full circle. I think it would be nice if we do the empath's prayer. And I don't think even if it's not, they're not going to, getting rid of Jack Smith won't help because we're headed towards the Hague and international trials. So it's not even, they can't stop the train. It's not about one person. It's about a massive investigation. McCabe was part of the investigation. They got rid of McCabe, but it won't help at this point. I think it's too late. All right, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to do the empath's prayer. And then we will give you your weekly reading. This is a free reading we offer to everyone. And it just tells us how the week is going to go. Hi, Mila, what you up to? Yeah, you're coming down? You're going to go slip, night, night? Okay. You're going to go sleepy? Okay. Have a nice sleep. She's going into her bed. All right, we will blitz after the community prayer. Let's do it. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Let's take a look at what our week is going to be like. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, by the way. I will not be broadcasting Thursday for the hot topics, but I do hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Hi, Desiree Robato. Great to see you. Hi, Joel. Hi, Claudia. All right. Let's talk about the week that will be. This is a time in your life energetically that they're talking about work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. That's kind of the spiritual lesson for all of us right now. The base of the matter for you is 5 of Swords. Pick your battles wisely. This is the message from Spirit. There are things worth fighting for, and there are things not worth fighting for. Where you're at right now, the 5 of Swords. Pick your battles. Do you really want to burn yourself out on things that don't matter? There's a huge transformation happening to you right now regarding effective use of your energy. We all have limited amount of time in the day. How many hours a day are you spending doing things that don't serve you? So I think the first spiritual lesson for us all with these cards is look at the fact that we all have a limited amount of time here on Earth. And how do you spend your 24 hours? Is it effective? Is it getting you what you want? The time you spend, is it getting you from point A to point B? What do you want and how are you going to get it? Let go of battles and time constraints that are not serving you. You don't have to be so guarded. I think a lot of people, what I'm seeing in the cards is boundary challenges. We're afraid to let anybody too close because we tend to give too much and have boundary issues. But for many people, the lovers comes. This is the ability to people are very lonely, right? But we don't have to be lonely. There are lovers coming to us and friendships and courtships if we want them. relationships. Feeling bound. So if we are feeling bound by our interpersonal, see, look at this, locked up, defensive, feeling trapped by our interpersonal relationships, walk away from battles you cannot win. There could be major transformation in our relationships with others. Former loves. If a relationship leaves you impoverished financially, mentally, or emotionally, then it's toxic. Bound up, impoverished due to past relationships, causes you to be defensive. Walk away from battles you cannot win and are transformed. So it's just basically saying that many of us, because of a fear that we're going to be used, taken advantage of, put in a worse place than we started, have kind of walled ourselves away. There become power struggles in our relationships. And this all comes to an end. This is about establishing strong boundaries, but you don't want to give up your dreams just because you're struggling with boundaries and people taking advantage of you. You still remain the dreamer. You still have hope. You still believe that good things are happening for you. Queen of Cups is the dreamer. But you also have a caution here about people on power trips or people that have tried to control you through power trips, and being able to, you have the right to say no, like giving yourself permission to say no to people who don't treat you right. Be careful with your money, because if a person has not shown that they've changed in any way, you could be betrayed again. If a person has shown you over and over and over again that they're going to betray you, don't keep giving them a chance. There's a concern here about giving. It could be financial or helping those people that are in a bad way, and then you have a fear of betrayal, and then it results again in betrayal. So it's a habit. It's a habit of codependence. There's a real caution here about codependence putting you in a situation where you're worse off. And so healthy boundaries with people comes up again. And this is a major spiritual lesson for, I think, a lot of the people that watch this channel, is saying no to people and having appropriate boundaries without feeling guilty. I think it's a big issue. As a woman, I know that we're expected to be all loving and, oh, we're supposed to save humanity. And then when we say, no, I don't think so. I work really hard for my money and I need it for myself. Oh, you horrible person. How dare you? So there's a little bit of guilt here that you are doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. If it has a lot to do with self-respect also. If you think you don't have a right to anything better, neither will anybody else. They'll think that that your money belongs to them. Hey, you got money, give it to me. What you have belongs to me. It's my right. So this has been a theme that's come up a lot in the cards for all of us, is that you have a moral responsibility to your own self-care first and foremost, which is that you're not being selfish. You're doing the bare minimum of what you are obligated to do as a child of God, which is to love and take care of your needs, respect yourself, respect your body, and not put yourself in harm's way. At your expense, taking care of someone else. That is not what true compassion is. And that is the spiritual lesson that we are struggling with right now. Yeah. We always want to hope that people can change, and people can. I've changed. I know that I've grown up. But if someone hasn't shown you that, and they're just constantly talking about how you have to do for them, then they're saying walk away. Yeah, so that is basically the spiritual lesson for the group. Came up last week too. Some of y'all all are, I think it's because the holidays are coming, and I know families can guilt us a lot. You've always been a selfish child. little things that they do to try and, yeah, be aware, hear that. Oh, well, you don't like me. Oh, well, you think I'm selfish. Oh, well. Yeah, put yourself first. And when you put yourself first and respect yourself, others will respect you. You don't have to beg people to love you. It's not necessary. You don't need to be saved. You can save yourself just fine. I think that that's what it is. Five of Swords was the base. Walk away from battles that aren't worth fighting. Death and transformation. Well, Joel, grandchildren are supposed to be spoiled. All right, whenever you're ready and have questions for me, I would love to hang out with you and blitz, blitz, blitz away, as they say. 46 minutes, yeah. No guilt here. Good for you, Debbie. All right, we've got the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away. So we're going to go ahead and take the questions. I think I'm going to use the Universal Rider Waite today, or is it the Radiance? I think it's the Radiance deck. Yes, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Do I have a date for Thanksgiving? Yes, with my godchildren, my best friend Darlene Christopher, and my godchildren. I'm very, very, very excited about that. Okay, so there was a question about FTX and the future of FTX. We know that it's gone belly up. This was an exchange for crypto. And they are looking into foreign money again. Unfortunately, this guy gave a lot of money to the Biden presidency, but it really doesn't matter, right? It's not about Democrats or Republicans because both are under investigation. It's about the ways in which foreign governments are influencing our elections, the Supreme Court. Now there's evidence that the Supreme Court was bribed with Roe v. Wade, etc. So that's really the greater investigation. Let's look at the future of the FTX exchange. And I know that they found some Chinese money there. The FTX exchange. There's an investigation going on. The owner is he's been his documents. He's got a subpoena here, but he's also having to hand over a lot of stuff to the feds. He's got the burden there. They want to get a hold of his basically his files. Everything has to be handed over. The feds are going through everything. The feds are going through everything. So this is the guy from FTX. Look at that. He has to completely comply with all records, all emails, everything. Here's the investigation. I mean, that makes me nervous right there. Just those first two cards, what he's doing, hauling the stuff, and what the feds are doing. That email between you, everything. We want it all. Everything. Hopes and fears, the Constitution, right? The final outcome, he's going to have to walk away from it. It's over. FTX is going to be shut down because of federal regulation. Let's do a clarification. That's what Mueller said was going to happen, right? Oh, it's getting even worse. It's even worse. It's even worse. It's part of the international crimes units. It's part of the investigations into it's part of the Hague trials. It's part of the international investigations that are going to be going on. He's going to be left broke, by the way. The head of FTX is bankrupted. Frugality card. Look at that. He's left with nothing. He's going to be sleeping on his parents' couch. You want to see what the feds are investigating? Drugs, crime, bad relationships, right? The devil, right? The hopes and the fears, the investigation, the evidence card. It's also a real estate card. The real estate's going to collapse because so much of it is foreign money, right? Walking away and it's over. FTX is finished. Human trafficking? Yeah. No, because Mueller was part of the first phase of the investigation, putting everything in a row, and then the investigation continued on, and now we're moving towards the second phase, which Mueller talked about, which was international courts. And some of these crimes cannot be tried in the United States because they involve other countries, and so they're war crimes. So that's why he told us it was going to wind up in the Hague. I mean, we talked about the fact that they would probably try Putin in the Hague. The problem is that Putin's not going to be there. So even if they find him guilty, he's going to be protected by Russia, and that's frustrating. So that is what we see. What do you think? What do y'all think about that? Interesting. Yes, somebody had asked about Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, it's the same thing. Meeting on mega yachts, bribing people by giving them whatever they want, which is what the Russians did also. Giving information to the main security people that get hired. I think they supply security for like over 100 countries, etc. Is Israel. They are the people gathering intelligence. So they have honeypots, they have all kinds of things. And then who is their main person who's the main country that they're supplying intelligence to? Well, they're working a lot with Britain, MI6, they're working a lot with the United States. So America was complicit in Epstein because of these were honeypots that were taking place on an island. They were letting him do whatever he wanted because he was supplying intelligence information to people. And that was also why they kind of let Prince Andrew get off, because Prince Andrew was bringing them people. So that's basically what happened. All right, let's see here if we have any more questions. Jim Jordan. Well, I think Jim Jordan is part of it because there's also an investigation into corruption with Ron Paul, is that his name? And people that were part of the intelligence. There was one arrest and conviction of a Republican in, let me see if I've got my facts right here regarding just how bad this is. Rick Renzi, he was the congressman from Arizona, and he was on the House Intelligence Committee. So he was selling intelligence, and he was convicted by Jack Smith, and he actually had to step down. So he got into trouble for this. So this has been going on a while. All right, let's look at the future of Jim Jordan. It's just interesting to see it now moving on into the international courts. How much Americans don't know. Well, you guys know. You guys knew 4 years ago where this was headed. But most people have not put it together. Jim Jordan, what is going on with him? He's facing a raid, and he's facing a warrant. Looks like a warrant. He's facing a warrant and criminal charges because of dealings overseas and because he himself was linked to the overseas investigation. He stayed out of jail by being something of an informant and offering information to people, but it only is going to protect him for so long. He has the Six of Pentacles, which leads me to suspect that he was probably cooperating to some extent. He's also got justice over him. They may not charge him as heavily as, again, it's a cooperation issue because he appears to be some type of an informant from within. You can see here also a Two of Cups over the police card. And then the final outcome for him is still a possible raid, Knight of Swords with a Three of Wands, which I read within 3 months. It's also my international card waiting for the ships to come in. So it's looking like Jim Jordan is probably going to possibly have a warrant issued or something like that. And oh, did he already get pardoned? Yeah, it looks like he may be able to avoid some charges, but he's in trouble and he may still, the police are over him. So it's not looking good for him. Rifka. Are you Rifka? I'm a little confused. Is this the girl from Belarus, the prostitute from Belarus, or is this somebody else? Is this the person that was trying to get guns in Russia? All right. Who stole something and was caught and sent back to Russia and disappeared. Oh, okay, let's find out. I think this might be the girl that was Deripaska, working with she was, yes, the honeypot. Yes. Yes. Let's see. What happened to Rifka? She can't leave Belarus. It looks like she's contained, and she might be under house arrest. She's been denied the legal right to get out of it. She's under house arrest. Courts are over her. It looks like she can't leave. She's been contained in Belarus. They don't really know what to do with her other than to just keep her in her room or in her location. She can't speak to anybody. She can't leave. There's been some negotiations. I think they're afraid to kill her because of too much public opinion, but I'm seeing her in a small location, in her room, locked up, can't leave. The Belarus, the court's over her. She was last seen, she was sent back to Belarus. She's kind of a strong girl. She's kind of stubborn. I don't see them killing her, but I do see them not allowing her to speak. She's like locked in her home with her family. She can't go anywhere, and the courts haven't decided what to do with her. She's basically, they may eventually release her, but she can't talk to the press anymore, or she will be arrested and charged. That's basically but I don't see her as dead, no. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. No, they didn't poison her. They basically, she's under a type of house arrest, and she's not allowed to leave, and I think she's with her family or someone, and she's I don't see her in jail, and she's been denied proper legal counsel, and there doesn't appear to be an official charge, and the way it will probably end is that she will be allowed to move around a little bit, but she will not be able to talk to the press, and if she does speak to the press in the future, there will be formal charges. That's basically what they're saying. That's probably how it will end with her. So, we have other people besides Jordan that are involved in January 6th, and it goes back again to charges. These are people that could be charged in the United States, people that are cooperating with an ongoing investigation to avoid prison, even though they may have been sympathizers, who had pardons, how you get around pardons. And if somebody committed international crimes, a US pardon is also not going to help you. So let's take a look at what's going on with Gates, Gomer, Boebert, and the others. Crazy. Yeah, it didn't look like torture. It's more like she just can't leave her cold room with a kitchen and a hot plate. And it's just going on and on and on with no official charges. They're gonna be publicly shamed for being traitors to the United States, even if they're temporarily hired. It's like even if they temporarily got into Congress, it's not gonna help them because they're facing charges. Some of them could also even face international charges, and then they're gonna have to work with their American lawyers. You can see they got the job, Page of Pentacles, they're in Congress, but you can see Seven of Wands, multiple suits, both civil suits and also investigations over them. The international courts are interested in them as well. They may have to testify in international courts. Five of Pentacles, not good, would indicate poverty, exile, maybe a sense of betrayal when when these international courts happen. It's like the Nuremberg trials. I mean, the closest that this looks like where we're headed is like the Nuremberg trials, and it's horrific. It goes back to what we saw 4 years ago when all of this is going to start coming out, when all the international investigations come out, when people are testifying, I think, and how the housing market and crypto was manipulated and people in Congress were bribed and the CIA was bribed, et cetera, et cetera. The Pentagon with Flynn. The fact that this is winding up in international courts, it's going to be very difficult for people to look at this stuff and be pretty disgusted with it. They were betrayed from within. And the Queen of Wands is over them, so they can't escape. Queen of Wands, she seeks justice absolute. She's also territorial. I can't see them getting out of it. The biggest takeaway here is that they almost look like Nazi sympathizers. It goes back to when people were German sympathizers at the end of the war and they were arrested in the United States, and people literally wanted to tar and feather them, anybody that was helping the other side. And it really looks like They are kicked out. This is an exile card. Kicked out of the church. 10 of Swords, stabbed in the back. The international courts are over them. Look at this. With the Queen of Wands, you are not going to be a happy person. They betrayed our country. That's basically what they're saying. They betrayed our country for money. They sold their souls. They were grifters. They worked on the intelligence committee. They were caught selling information, and it will not. It will end in public shaming. That's shaming and exile, and in some cases, possible international charges. So I don't think a pardon from a corrupt president is going to help them at this point. Well, this is a deep question that Kay is asking, which is what's going to happen to the House if 5 members of Congress at least are forced out. It's not about Democrat or Republican getting the House. It's about Americans getting the House back. And that's another way for us to look at it, that the problem wasn't that they were Republicans. That's not what we're upset about. We're not upset about the fact that the Republicans have control of the House. We're upset about the fact that corrupt people who've been bribed, who sold out our country, are in the House, and they're in our intelligence and on intelligence committees. That's the problem we're having. So, and we would have that problem if it was with the Democrats. It doesn't matter the party, because there have also been Democrats that have gotten in trouble. FTX, Democrats are getting linked back to money in China. That's a legitimate investigation. So it's not we're missing the point if we only see Democrats and Republicans. The issue is that this is our country. We don't want foreign money manipulating our courts, like what happened with Amber Heard. It's now coming out that the money all got linked back to that prince in Dubai that beat his wife because he hates women, right? So they were meeting and they planned the entire theater, right? And that's the investigation. Do people on mega yachts with trillions of dollars have the right to come in and just decide what reality is? And it doesn't matter which political party you're in. That's not how democracy works. And that's the bigger issue. So in Kay's question, she wants to know about what's going to happen to the House as a result of these convictions. Thank you all for being here, by the way. And if you haven't had a chance to like, subscribe, I would appreciate it. Also, our charity, if you're being entertained, and we hope you are, our charity today is feedamerica.org. 100% of the proceeds go directly to feedamerica.org because we think everybody in America should be able to afford a meal. So that is what we are raising money for today. All right, let's look at the future of the House. There's a new day coming in the House, and they're talking a lot about a new beginning in the House, that both Republicans like Kissinger, what's his name? Who he just left. He got out of his district. Kissing, you know the guy. You have Republicans that are not bribed. Kinzinger, thank you, Kinzinger. So it's a new beginning in DC, and it's like a cleaning out of the garbage. Both parties wanted this. And it's, well, what about you taking money from China? Well, what about you taking money from Moscow? What about nobody take money from anybody? So we're cleaning out. There are Democrats going to prison. There are Republicans. it's not about Democrat and Republican. It's about theft, corruption, and bribes. And that we have to get off the whole political thing and just see it as a cleaning out of our politics. So there's a new beginning happening. This is also a spring card. So we're entering into spring. They're gutting out a lot of the corruption. By spring, the house is a clean house. We want the house cleaned up. The light is being shown. This is a really cool card. If you look at her hat, she has all the phases of the moon, Mother, Maiden, Crone, right? And we think of it as an ESP card because the moon shines at night, right? It reveals that which is hidden. So I think it's very cool that that card is coming in over this investigation. And they're talking about a new beginning in the time of the spring regarding what? What is the investigation regarding? Theft of our democracy, bribes by foreign governments, foreign lobbyists like Adam Waldman, for example, who is Deripaska's propaganda guy, right? They brought in Deripaska's propaganda guy. They met on mega yachts with the guy from Dubai. Everybody told me I was insane. I had a breakdown because nobody would believe me. And then I had to wait 3 months until the story broke. Remember that? So it's not just political bribes. It's also, it's not just Congress. It's also our courts, right? Our courts are being bribed. Our ABC spinoffs, Dan Abrams, right, made a ton of money off of, Dan Abrams got compromised, right? He took a bunch of money from Deripaska's people, right? Worked with Adam Waldman. Again, the money stream and then paying to advertise to get people to watch things, to convince them, right? Then they start advertising on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook so that you're going to believe this propaganda because it's linked back to foreign lobbyists, mega yachts, and it's in the courts, it's in the Congress, it's in every aspect of our lives, and it comes down to theft. Things happening very, very quickly. Possibly by the summer, we could be seeing convictions. And let's do the clarification. Oh, Congress is doing very well. We're gonna get our Congress back. The House is it's kind of like when the Feds start issuing stuff. When this all breaks, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos, but it's necessary to clean out the house. You can see here the Six of Wands moving in, a new beginning for the House. People will be unhappy about the investigation. A treasure trove of information regarding theft. And then the state of the House, chaos. The House is divided. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It's I don't think when Robert Mueller and his team were looking at these types of things, when they were looking at the mega yachts and all those meetings, the fact that Khashoggi got murdered, that was something that appears to have been part of these meetings. All this stuff gets planned with trillions of dollars, and it's just been horrible. It's been horrible for democracy, and it's been terrifying for women's rights. If you look at what happened to, I know people that know Amber. I lived in LA for a while, and they just made it all up. She's just a nice person, but it goes back to what's going to happen to these foreign lobbyists, that they have unlimited amounts of money at their disposal because the guy from Dubai is a trillionaire. So, this is a guy who drugged and held his own children hostage, and they're still being held hostage, some of them. So he had to give his wife, $800 million in the settlement in Britain. So he's not a happy guy. Also, the Queen of England disowned the Prince of Dubai. She said, no more invitations. He was completely cut out from British society. So he was pretty mad at his wife. So do I think that people like Adam Waldman, the corrupt lobbyist, and not just Adam Waldman, let's be clear, it's Adam Waldman, it's Steve Bannon also working as a foreign lobbyist, it's Roger Stone. These are all they're all in the same category. They're taking money from questionable sources in order to cause political change or change in our courts. So what will happen to the foreign lobbyists that are basically spies and traitors taking money from foreign governments to make this happen? What will happen to them? Let's find out. And also the judges. The judges are corrupt. You're also talking about judges put on benches that have received bribes. Johnny Depp and Adam Waldman and their scheme with the guy from Dubai. What will happen? There's an investigation. It's now public information, by the way, because it's now public what happened. Oh, very nice. Yeah, Amber Heard will win in the appeal, and she has a happy ending to her life. She will be vindicated. The courts are right over him. Courts are right over Johnny Depp. I feel really sorry for him because he always comes as like having a lot of mental issues. Amber Heard has a great future. Look at that, stars and she's going to get back into acting. There's an investigation right over Johnny Depp and Adam Waldman. Look at Amber Heard's future. Happy family, marriage. She's going to get married again. I think she and her partner, she has a new girlfriend, might be getting married with those cards. And she's come out as lesbian, and Amber Heard doesn't usually date men. She was kind of, pushed into it. Johnny Depp is friends with Weinstein. And one of Weinstein's tricks was he would, get women to come up to a hotel, and you would think you'd be having a business meeting, but it would just be him, and then the person would get assaulted, because a lot of meetings take place in hotels, like auditions, etc. I've gone to those meetings and never had anything spooky happen to me, because that's what they do. It's very normal to have an audition that way. So that's what Johnny Depp evidently did. He told her there was going to be a meeting. She showed up. There was nobody there but him. He locked the door, and it became this power thing. So that also goes back to the Screen Actors Guild. Is the Screen Actors Guild going to protect its actors? Because I think that, as somebody who has been in the union, the Screen Actors Guild is still my credit union, by the way. I'm still in SAG credit union. I can say, as somebody who paid their dues for SAG, they really have to step it up in terms of protecting actors. So, because had there been other people in the room and had it been appropriate, she would have been protected from this malignant narcissist love bombing her, and he was going to get her. And when somebody that powerful love bombs you, you're kind of like, there's not a lot you can do. It's very unfortunate. But what I like about the ending is that she will be vindicated. What's sad about Johnny Depp's ending in those cards is that he's just ill. He's just ill. He's, some of these actors who I've worked with, there's a lot of alcoholism and addiction in LA. There's a lot of AA meetings that happen in West Hollywood because of the addiction problems we have with actors. One of the things I did as a doctor was prescribe natural treatments to many of these actors who are struggling with addiction because it is so common, and many of them are beautiful, brilliant people, but they're very sick, and it's very heartbreaking to see, such beautiful, brilliant people, but they're not well, a lot of them. It's very sad, and the problem with Hollywood has always been that it feeds the ego too much, and actors are not supposed to have half a trillion dollars. You know, that's not what being an actor and 3 islands or whatever. They're actors, and I don't think they can handle it. A lot of them can't even handle their own money. They have financial advisors that put them on a budget because they can't even emotionally handle running their own finances. It's actors are very special. I have a lot of love for actors, but I've also had to really watch my boundaries when I work with them. Yeah, but, you know, my offices were on Melrose and Sweetser, and Johnny Depp is on the other side of Santa Monica Boulevard and Sweetser. So, literally within walking distance of my office, and we all go to the same places, right? It's the same community. We all go to Earth Bar for our smoothies, and that's where Meghan Markle comes in used to come in on Sundays after her yoga. We all go to the same yoga class, so we're kind of like a little family, right? We were like a little family, right? And there were a lot of things going on in our family, little family, that were a problem. Like, we didn't want a lot of us didn't want Johnny Depp's, nightclub to be there. It was on Sunset, what was it called? It starts with a V. A lot of us wanted it shut down because it was attracting a certain crowd that we didn't want in the community. The Viper, we wanted it shut down, and there was actually those of us who lived there were signing petitions, "Shut this thing down." Just overdoses and violence and crazy, and so a lot of, I think also West Hollywood has changed over the years. A lot of people got married and had kids, and they have a condo in West Hollywood. They don't want this crazy around their children. I think that there's this idea that everybody is wild and wicked in West Hollywood, but the truth is, us old fogies who had rent control, we lived there because we had low crime and because it was a nice neighborhood, and we didn't want that kind of influence in our neighborhood. And yeah, I moved there first time in 1992, back and forth, and then my fiancé, he had rent control, uh, and then my offices were on Sweetser, so we're talking about 20, 30 years. Yeah, so it's unfortunate to see, such beautiful people in so much pain with so much, mental health problems. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna do, one more question, and, um yeah. I think we'll go ahead and close it. Drugs and also, brain damage and stuff like that. It wasn't just him. I mean, people were having problems with Robert Downey Jr. and, um, people picking up people on Santa Monica Boulevard at odd hours of the night, and regular people would be like my husband would be going to get a carton of milk, and people would be stopping and thinking, "Are you working?" "No, I'm going to get a carton of milk." So the neighborhood, we had a problem with the crazy. We didn't want to be the hub of the crazy, and there's a lot of I still love West Hollywood, but it's not but it's definitely 2 factions. There's the young hipster, and then there's the old person who's been there for 30, 40 years. Um, yes. Still the best place to get chicken noodle soup too, by the way. Cantor's Delicatessen on you can't then there's also Greenblatt's on Sunset. All right, we have one more question. The Ukraine war. I think that's a good thing for us to end with. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of positive memories of being the doctor, you know, um, and the actors used to sing songs to me, which was kind of funny. You know, I would go to work and they would say like, "Everyone knows Dr. Whimsy." It was very funny. Um, I was dearly loved. I was dearly, dearly loved by the actors in Hollywood. They loved me well. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge. All right, Ukraine war. What will be? Let's see. Starry eyes. Oh my gosh. Let's see. The Ukraine war's future. A new beginning in Ukraine. Russia's going to go through a period where they are lost and directionless. Everything's going to be fine with Ukraine. There's a new beginning in the spring. They're rebuilding, and also they're bringing in a ton of new Western industry because once Russia and corruption gets out, the mob, etc., that has been dragging Ukraine down, we're seeing a really exciting time when actually Ukraine is a new time of industry and a new time for the West in terms of business for Ukraine. Russia, not so much. They're lost. They don't know who they are. They can't look to the church and they can't look to leadership and they can't look to any kind of moral compass. So this is a difficult time in Russia where they just don't know who they are anymore. The hopes and the fears, judgment. So judgment's coming down. There's corruption with money, Two of Pentacles, which is the juggler's coin. They're going after the dark money in Ukraine that led to the problem in the first place. They're gutting out the Russian mafia, the criminals, the thieves. That was what led to the problem. The church is going to be overhauled in Russia and go back to just being a church. It's a big issue. The church wants to be a beacon to the people of Russia, but they themselves have to be gutted out. That's what they're saying. The hopes and fears. Russia's very worried about world judgment and punishment because of what they've done. They're aware of what they've done, but the war ends by February. And a new beginning economically for Ukraine in the spring as tons of Western business begins to move into Ukraine. So it's very, very good future for Ukraine. But I do feel bad for Russia with those cards because they're lost. I mean, it's a 7 of Cups for them, so they're lost. They don't know who they are. We can't turn to our church. We can't turn to our leadership. Everything's a lie. Can you imagine? They're going to have to build from that. And it looks like they start by cleaning up their institutions. It's a very difficult time for Russia. All right. You guys are awesome. You are a delight. That is the best way to describe my Sundays with you. You are delightful. It is a delight to be with you. And I thank you for spending your Sunday brunches with me. I want to give a special shout out to Melody Harmon, Geriatric Brig, K Travel Tarot, Debbie Brady, your dreams coach. Did I say Melody Harmon? Thank you so much. And thank you to anyone and everyone else who has helped with today's show if I did not give you a shout out. If you are trying to get in for, Joyce Pietrus also. If you're trying to get in for a reading, you can go, hi, Fillerin Boglin as well. Thank you for your help. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. If you just need a 5-minute Wizio reading, that information is below this video as well. Those are pre-taped readings. I will be sending out a bunch of Wizios today. If you didn't get your Wizio response yet, it will be out today. Thank you for your patience. Have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. Oh, you got tea biscuits from Israel? Yeah, those are good. I get those. I have those with my tea. They're low calorie and they're vegan. All right. Be well, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.